Welcome to Coruzant Technologies, home of the Digital Executive Podcast.
Welcome to the Digital Executive. Today's guest is Pratik Balar. Pratik Balar is the co-founder and tech lead at NodeOps, a Web3 infrastructure company building decentralized compute systems that power the future of AI and cloud services. With over 3 years of hands-on experience, Pratik has architected and managed hybrid enterprise-grade infrastructure across Tier 1 cloud providers and bare metal environments, optimizing for scalability, uptime, and performance at production scale. He's deeply invested in building infrastructure that lowers the barrier to adoption for developers while reinforcing the long-term sustainability of decentralized protocols. Well, good afternoon, Pratik. Welcome to the show.
Good evening.
I appreciate that. You're in Bangalore, India right now. And so it's early morning for me, but it's evening for you. So I appreciate you making the time. Pratik, let's jump into your first question. You've been instrumental in building NodeOps decentralized compute systems. How do you envision DPIN 2.0 transforming the future of AI and cloud services?
Thank you for the question. I think it's a really good question. When it comes to DPIN 2.0, all I can think of is like scalability, cost efficiency, and privacy. So DPIN 2.0 will transform AI and cloud services by creating, more scalable, cost-effective, and resilient ecosystem. Of course, by leveraging blockchain, token incentives. DPIN 2.0 also enables anyone to contribute idle compute resources like GPUs and storage, reducing reliance on centralized providers like a tier 1 cloud provider. I won't name anyone, but yeah, you got the idea. This democratizes like access to AI infrastructure, slashing costs to by 70 to 90% in some of the cases compared to the traditional cloud providers, enhancing scalability through global permissionless network. All the DPIN, anybody can spin up a node from any region of the world, and they can be a part of the whole DPIN cloud or something like that. DPIN 2.0 integrates real-time data from IoT and edge devices as well, as we all know, like GeoNet and all are doing, enabling AI models to train and infer on diverse, high-quality data set. So yeah, this is kind of how I envision DPIN and how this is transforming the future of AI and cloud services.
That's amazing. And I appreciate you breaking out DPIN. Obviously, that's so important now in the decentralized world. What I took away from this is obviously the scalability and the fact that it's cost effective, leveraging blockchain technology for decentralized services. And you mentioned providing token incentives, which I think is awesome. And DPIN 2.0 allows advanced integration. For example, you mentioned IoT devices, cloud, etc. So I really appreciate you highlighting that for us. Pratik, NodeOps focuses on building infrastructure that is open and trustless. What are the biggest technical and philosophical challenges in designing such systems at scale?
Building a NodeOps was a right, to be honest, like the open and trustless infrastructure at scale. Like NodeOps faces technical challenges such as ensuring scalability, low latency consensus, and robust security against threats like Sybil and DDoS, which we have faced during our testnet, and we are continuously facing DDoS on our mainnet as well. I think last month we got somewhere around 7-ish DDoS. Luckily, we have a lot of things that we have integrated to take care of. Interoperability across heterogeneous nodes and maintaining data integrity in decentralized environment are also crucial. We have to create a lot of in-house tooling to secure node-to-node connectivity by leveraging something like technology which is being used on a lot of tech stack like MTLS, which is like mutual TLS where certificate which will be given to both parties and both parties can communicate and authorize each other's communication using this single TLS. So this TLS will be mutual among both parties or something. So things like that we can do to, secure node-to-node connectivity. This is again one of the examples. Second would be managing state across the nodes. So let's say if I'm running Polygon, let's say I'm a NodeOps orchestration and I'm running Polygon network, or let's say Polygon validator onto your nodes. And for some reason, for some XYZ reason, your node is down or under maintenance state. So now I not only have to reschedule this node, but also have to take whole state, which is like blockchain data, to the other nodes as well. We have to sync in, we have to keep copying, or we have to keep the backup of the state, and we have to keep snapshotting the state and then migrate these to some other nodes. So these kind of challenges, again, I would say creating everything in a non-cloud or like in a generic fashion was the challenge for us, especially. Apart from this, we are also researching around privacy computation with and without T. With T, if I give you with T, that would be running something enclave environment where your node's private key, let's say your private key will be under T, so nobody, not even a machine owner can see that private key, and your node will continuously do its thing. It could be like Chakra node, it could be a validator node, or it could be a ZK verifier node, something. We are also, the thing T is not that scalable, so we are also researching something around without T, where we do something like FHE, like fully homomorphic encryption, where parties can, or the nodes can directly do computation on top of encrypted data without revealing what's in that data, something like that. So those kind of things, these kind of technical challenges we have faced at scale, and this is something we are researching around.
Thank you. And I really appreciate you helping us understand that a little bit. I know the vision was to build open and trustless, as we like to do in the decentralized world. Having that secure node-to-node connectivity was important. I highlighted that. And then managing that uptime between nodes is easier in your environment. I appreciate that. Pratik, you've worked across cloud giants and bare metal environments. What are the trade-offs between centralized and decentralized infrastructure from a DevSecOps perspective?
So that's a really interesting question, which I get a lot during like meetups and all. From a DevSecOps perspective, which stands for developer security and operational guy, centralized infrastructure like cloud giants, tier one clouds offer streamlined management, robust security tools, rapid scalability, but introduce vendor lock-in, higher costs, and single point of failure. Like few weeks ago, when I guess GCP was facing some issue, and like majority of region was down due to some dev on their side pushes some bad commits, and that also took down a lot of other things like Cloudflare and all, which is a major threat on centralized world. I don't know, like people have seen, but that test node also was not down, even though we are utilizing GCP and all. So that's the beauty of, I think, these things. By utilizing the bare metal decentralized infrastructure, we can avoid this totally. And as NodeOps is doing, we utilize multi-cloud hybrid setup for everything, which provides like a greater control, cost efficiency, resilience against censorship, but also faces challenges with consistent security enforcement, complex orchestration, and slower deployment cycle. So it requires, of course, higher maintenance, because now you don't have a single place to maintain everything. Now it's scattered, and then you have to manage all those things. But a centralized system simplify compliance and monitoring as well, while decentralized setup requires a distributed trust mechanism and advanced consensus protocol as well in some cases, which increase this operational complexity. And balancing security, scalability, and agility remains critical in choosing the optimal infrastructure for a specific use case. In our case, it's a bare metal plus mix of other tier one clouds. I think those are the like trade-offs between centralized and decentralized infrastructure from DevSecOps perspective.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Had someone else recently on here that was a big proponent of decentralized cloud. And obviously you talked about GCP last week. I see this every week with the major cloud providers. They're more vulnerable to attacks. They may have a bad code push, then they've got to reverse that out. And it affects everybody, and it's hard. But I like how you're using, when we're talking about DevSecOps, you're using the decentralized environment. You can streamline your management. There's more cost efficiency. It's secure. And then, of course, that distributed trust environment you talked about. So I appreciate you highlighting that. Pratik, last question of the day. DPIN 2.0 aims to be more developer friendly. What specific steps are you taking at NodeOps to reduce the friction for developers entering the Web3 space?
Again, good question. So we have a few features in NodeOps Cloud for devs and for beginner devs. One of them would be, I want to highlight a few of them. One of them would be our template-based deployment, where any beginner dev or any dev can create a YAML-based template of their favorite code. So let's say if you want to spin up a Uniswap tab, and then you will just create a YAML file of it, and then you'll put it into NodeOps Cloud. The YAML file is very simple. It's just a wrapper of Docker Compose or Kubernetes manifest, which is like the way how you want to deploy your stuff. That's what is defined in the YAML. And then your deployment will be taken care by NodeOps Cloud Orchestrator, and then we'll schedule it, we'll maintain it, we'll show you uptime, we'll show you the traffic, we'll show you how much resources is being used. It's utilizing and all. And we'll give you a link which will be enforced by all these security tools. Like you won't face like any kind of DDoS, will take care of it. Your small debt won't go down even if you face any DDoS and all. So those all things are like backed by all the orchestration things that we have created around it. And we are soon releasing a replica feature on top of it, which allows you to deploy your favorite code onto some particular region. So let's say if you are thinking that, okay, you are getting more traffic from USA, we will give you the flexibility of creating multiple services into USA to cater that region of the world. So things like that we are also planning. Second would be AI Sandbox. AI Sandbox is really interesting application that we have developed, or feature that we have developed onto cloud. It's a like single browser VS Code like sandbox environment with all the necessary toolings like Node.js, Rust, and all the fancy programming language inbuilt again into that sandbox. We have this GPU support, so you'll have whatever NVIDIA graphics driver, whatever you need to run your code, and this sandbox will have everything in order to start as a dev. So now you don't have to configure everything into your local. You have to download this packet, that packet, and you have to set up this programming language. That you just spin up a AI sandbox and everything will be set up. You just start developing at that point, and then you can even utilize VS Code extensions like let's say GitHub Copilot and all to do your white coding as well. So it will check off that white coding checklist as well. On top of this, you have some features like package manager. So let's say if your code is not compatible with latest Node.js version, you have to drill it down to something like, let's say second tier, like let's say 22 or 20 version. So you can just do a single command and you'll down your programming language version as well. We have something called Chrome doc feature where you don't have to visit your AI sandbox every time. You just have to open it into Chrome, and Chrome will show you pop up that, okay, add it into your doc. And if you're a Mac or a Windows person, just add it into your doc. And by using single click, you'll have this whole your ID, programming ID into your local. We have also this feature of port tunnels where you can open any port from the remote machine to your local. So let's say if your remote machine running some kind of AI model, let's say 200 billion parameter AI model, and you want to access it to from local, you can just do a port tunnel, and NodeOps will create end-to-end ports from your local machine to the remote instance where the whole thing is running, 200 billion parameter model is running, and then you can do whatever you want to use that tunnel for. So things like this is then. Last would be RPCs and AI APIs. So NodeOps has been continuously contributing towards RPCs by creating public RPCs. So you'll be able to consume public RPCs of Hyperliquid, and then the second would be Movement Labs and the self-chain, things like that. And we also enables AI APIs. So let's say if you want to self-host your Quen model, or let's say you want to self-host your own Gemini 30 billion model, will we do it, just DM us, or you can also create it using your template onto our NodeOps cloud. Things like this are like widely available for any beginner dev or anyone who is entering into the Web3 space can directly consume it and create it. Will keep the whole first 5 steps, and you'll have all the resources you want, and then you can just kickstart your journey into Web3 space.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. A lot of features there that you unpacked. I'll highlight a couple anyway. Obviously, you make it easy for your customers to get in there. It's template-based environment for large projects, organizations, which I think is amazing. You have dynamic resource allocation, depending on where the needs are. Might be geographic, like you had mentioned in the USA. If they've got a higher demand, you can easily shift that. Your AI sandbox obviously makes it easy to stand up and then deploy. I really like that. And then offering those AI APIs that you can easily plug in and get right to work. So I appreciate that. Pratik, it was such a pleasure having you on today, and I look forward to speaking with you real soon.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting. It was so great to be on podcast.
Bye for now.